Good afternoon, it's Thursday, and that's the day that I bring you a super awesome hack to make your life easier. And today I want to talk with you about 10 things that you can do with a 5-gallon bucket, specifically one that is rated food grade. And I get these obviously from Firehouse Subs, and this is a shout out to Firehouse Subs and all the wonderful firemen out there, but I'm not paid in any way for this. What I love about this is I used to buy my buckets at Home Depot and I paid like $5 for them, but when I buy them, these are the pickle buckets from Firehouse Subs. But when you buy them from Firehouse Subs, you only pay $2 and they actually make a donation to firemen. So I love doing that, and if people in your neighborhood know about it, it can be pretty tricky trying to get your hands on one. So call ahead or look to the side counter when you go into Firehouse Subs and you'll see that stack of buckets, and you can buy them for $2 and it's a donation. And on a side note, I recently did that. I got some buckets and made a donation, and they actually put my donation in for a raffle ticket that got a party platter. And would you believe that I won? And actually that's the first time I've ever had Firehouse Sub, because I'm not really a fast food kind of person, but it's pretty good. And okay, so today I'm going to talk to you about 10 different ways that I use these buckets, and I love that they're food grade, and we love garlic, so that's something you need to know about them, is that they're going to smell like pickles for a while. And that's another reason why I like using them in the garden, because not a lot of bugs and pests like the smell of garlic. The first thing you can do with a 5-gallon food grade bucket is grow yourself some vegetables in it. Right here we got carrots, right here we got carrots and spinach going. So that's a good thing that you can do with the 5-gallon bucket, and that's number one. Okay, the number two thing that you can do with your handy dandy 5-gallon bucket is use it to measure up your soil mix. For instance, with the square foot gardening plan, it says this many cubic feet by this many cubic feet, and that almost ruined gardening for me, trying to figure out how many cubic feet of XYZ to put in there. I knew I needed 3 parts of something. So if I did 1 part of that and 1 part of that in this 5-gallon bucket, then I had 3 equal parts, and I know that in the end I'm gonna have about 3 buckets of soil ready to go. So that's number 2. You can also use your 5-gallon buckets to stack them up to make yourself a dango tripod. So now you know how I film out back. Put my tripod on top of a bunch of buckets, then I got a tripod here I can sit and talk to when I talk to you. Number 4, a 5-gallon bucket, especially a food grade one, is a great place to store your dried goods or dried herbs even. So if you buy any goods in bulk, or even maybe your seeds, but I try to keep my seeds in the refrigerator. But if you buy rice and beans and other things that are dry in bulk, a great place to store them is in your 5-gallon bucket that's also food grade quality. Okay, so I'm right over here by my lemon tree, and another handy hack that you can do with a bucket is, and I can't remember what number this is right now, but the other thing that you can do is you can use it to water a tree, because it's really not that great to just water right at the base of your tree. It's actually pretty good to come out a little bit, especially if you're working with some tropicals or citrus trees. So come over here, and you'll see I've got, now this is a whole pattern that I make for actually using it as vegetables, so you'd probably make them a little bit smaller. So I'm just going to put one of my compost bags in here to kind of slow down the flow of the water. But what I'm going to do is I'm going to get this bucket filled up, and then I'm going to remove that bag, and it's going to allow water to slowly drain out around the tree. So instead of just sitting over here letting water run crazy, then I've got a way to manage the flow of water to my tree, and also know exactly how much water I'm giving my tree. So if I end up with any issues when I'm talking to somebody like Seamus O'Leary, I can say, this is how much water I'm giving my tree. The number 6 tip I'll give you about using a 5-gallon bucket in the yard or around the house. One, if you're cleaning, you can put all your cleaning supplies in this bucket and haul it around the house, pop the lid on it, and put it up and away from children. This lid that comes with it is pretty tough to get off for a little one's hand, so it's a great way to keep your cleaning supplies safe and put away from your children. When you're working in the garden, if you've got some tools that you're working with, maybe like a little hand shovel, a trowel, different implements that you're using, maybe you're carrying a bag of azomite around, this is a great great place to get things from one bed or one area to the other, your gloves, what have you. Number 7, it's a great way to haul water in the garden. So if you're a long way away, if one of your beds or something in your garden is far, far away from a hose or a sprinkler and you've got to haul water, then an easy way to haul it is with a 5-gallon bucket. Now, over time, this handle right here that's on here is going to get worn down, and if you're hauling water, it's going to get especially hard on your hand. So you can double down on this hack by getting you an old piece of garden hose and cutting a little strip in it. That'll make you a softer, cushier handle that you can carry, and it won't deteriorate the same way that this handle that comes on the bucket. So that's a good tip. A thing that you can do with a 5-gallon bucket is when you're going throughout your garden and you're doing some weeding, or maybe you're just even working in your flower beds, then something good that you can have around is your 5-gallon bucket. Then you can just toss all your weeds and all your trimmings and all your clippings, maybe your dead head and your flowers. You toss those all into your bucket, and then you can carry them from bed to bed, and when you're ready to get rid of them, you can put them where you put them or toss them into your compost, whatever. Not. Another great thing that you can do is if you're in an area that does get a lot of rain, and we don't, so when we do, I do try to catch as much rain as I can, and a 5-gallon bucket, especially a food grade one, is a great way to catch that. Now, in the first month or two that your bucket still smells like garlic, I don't think it's anything that you'd want to be using for food or tea or coffee like my great-grandma used to. But it's a great way to collect water to use in your garden. So that's a handy tip there for the bucket too. And number 10 is you can always sit on it if you need a place to sit when you're working in the garden, or if somebody needs a place to sit and when you're all sitting in the yard and all the seats are taken up. Thanks so much for checking in all my awesome little hack tricks that I use with a 5-gallon bucket, and go out and get yourself one if you see any value in those tips I gave you. And otherwise, I hope you have the best day ever, and thanks so much for checking in with us.